Fuck! Alright, today we're going to be reviewing Ecco the Dolphin, Tides of Time. Ecco the Dolphin Tides of Time is a game where you play as Ecco on his quest to defeat the Vortex Queen again and save the Earth from a dark future. So Tides of Time takes place immediately after the first game. There's a small prologue at the beginning that explains that after Ecco defeated the Vortex Queen and returned home with his pod, the Queen detached from the hive and followed Ecco back to Earth, where she plans to start a new hive. So it's up to Ecco to save the day, yet again, from the evil Vortex creatures. Just like the first game, Tides of Time is extremely difficult. Before the game starts, there are 3 different paths you can take. To the left is the code screen where you can enter level codes. To the right, you'll start the game on normal difficulty, but if you crack the shells and head straight up, the game will start on hard mode. Alright guys, we're doing this on hard mode. So Tides of Time introduces a new 3D element to the gameplay in the form of mini-stages where Ecco has to swim through rings in order to travel to different locations. The stages are pretty simple: swim through the rings and avoid the obstacles. The hard mode stages have the rings move around, but the idea is the same. Sometimes the rings are above the water and you have to jump into the air to get through them. It can be very difficult to time these jumps, and the moving rings are even harder to jump through. Stop moving around! At least the obstacles aren't too hard to avoid. You just gotta watch out for the jellyfish, sharks, seaweed, and fart lobsters. You can dash at the sharks and jellyfish, but you've got to be careful because Ecco lurches at them and sometimes that takes you off course and you miss a ring. Miss too many rings and you have to start over. Apparently the rings were put here by the Atlanteans to help Ecco travel far distances. Do you think that if you were smart enough to invent time travel, you'd be smart enough to line the rings up rather than scatter them all around the ocean? But who am I to question the Atlanteans? So just like in the first game, Tides of Time has the player completing puzzles in order to progress through the game. There are stages where you have to bark at crystals, save baby whales, collect jelly beans, become your enemy, fly through the air, swim through the air, literally turn into a fucking bird and fly through the air. But what you'll be doing more than anything else is dying. You die so much in this game, and every time you do, Ecco makes a terrible shrilling noise. Oh my god. You've got to get used to it if you want to power through this game because you're going to be hearing it a lot. You'll also be seeing a lot of crystals. Ecco, follow me, there's something strange below. Oh, I'm sure there is. You brought me down here for this tiny sparkle? I've been to space. I've been inside the fucking machine. So for the very first puzzle, you've got to bring 4 crystals that have been placed around the stage together by barking at them and forcing them near this tiny sparkle. Then there's a puzzle in the very next stage where you've got to break away rocks blocking your path by using another rock. It's kind of like fighting fire, but with rocks, and you're a dolphin. So then you've got to do that a second time, but this time the rocks are up high, so you have to lift the rock into the air and then push it sideways into the other rocks before it drops back down. And what's your reward for completing this task? You get pelted with rocks and you lose your fucking powers.
Congratulations.
Wow, what a rewarding experience. Great, now you've got an oxygen gauge again and you've got to keep an eye on it. This is the Ecco I know and love. Nothing like dashing through the ocean desperately trying to reach the surface for oxygen while being pelted with fucking rocks. So out of nowhere, you run into this creepy longfin who tells you that she's your great-great-great-great-grand-dolphin and she's come to teleport you into the future. So she just transports you to the future, just like that. No time machines, no rings to swim through, just straight to the point. Hey, did you hear that, aliens? Hey, did you? So in the future, dolphins fly. I don't know why. I don't think there's any sort of evolutionary advantage here. Anyways, you gotta make your way to the asteroid of this future because he needs to talk to you. And in order to do that, you've gotta swim through the sky tides. Yeah, in the future, there's water in the sky. So wait, if there's water in the sky, why do dolphins need to fly? If there's water in the sky, why do dolphins need to fly? It's too bad Ecco can't fly. Instead, he's gotta bark at crystals so that he can open the pathway to the sky tides. The stage has you barking at one crystal that breaks away the rocks so you can bark at another crystal that allows you to knock away a third crystal so you can bark at a fourth crystal that gives you the bark that dislodges a fifth crystal that's blocking your path. Fucking barking at crystals, the game! So once you've barked at enough crystals, you're free to enter the sky tides. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to enter the sky tides, so strap in, tune in, strap up, strap... So the Sky Tides is a screen scrolling stage, and in order to be able to complete it, you have to be in the middle of the screen the whole time. If you're too far ahead, you don't have time to react to obstacles. If you're too far behind, you get stuck up against the end of the screen and can't move. So you literally have to stay in the center of the screen, which means you have to control your speed, and that is not as easy as it looks. The C button increases Ecco's speed, and holding the directional pad keeps Ecco coasting at that speed for a short period of time. If you let go of the directional pad, Ecco slows down a bit, but the speed boost doesn't last for very long, so you have to tap the C button in order to keep it moving, but you can't tap it too much or too little, so you end up having to tap it at certain intervals of time just to keep a reasonable speed, all while jumping from one stream to the other and avoiding suck holes. Then, just when you've seen the edge of the darkness, the stage starts bending. You have a smaller area to avoid the suck holes, and you get hit with the fucking zigzag portion that's nearly impossible to get through. Dude, I find myself like desperately jumping through this part, only to be met with a small stretch of stream that's riddled with suck holes on the other end. I keep getting sucked out of it. So first you've got to play vertical stream hop in the beginning, then diagonal lane switch, then you have to avoid a big area of suck holes that has streams of water that push your character up and down, then you go up and down, and then it throws the zigzag at you. Now I know there's someone out there saying, well, my cousin Dave can speedrun the Sky Tides. Well, your cousin Dave! I am not buying it. There's only a handful of people in the world that can speedrun Ecco, and none of them are your fucking cousin Dave. Your cousin Dave's a fake. He can't speedrun Ecco the Dolphin. This stage is ridiculous. I swear I played it for like an hour before I was able to complete it. And what's my reward for completing this unbelievably arduous task? I get to fight one of the most unreasonable bosses in video game history. Medusa.
Oh, but Peter, it's just a giant jellyfish. It's not that hard.
Shut up, Dave! This boss defies hyperbole. There's almost nothing I can say to exaggerate the difficulty. But don't worry, this boss can't kill you. Oh no, that would be the sweet release of death. Instead, she simply blocks your forward path and tosses you around like a ragdoll. Not that bad, right? You just gotta speed past her as quickly as you possibly can and dodge her bulky head and lurching tentacles. But hey, at least you can try as many times as you want. After all, she can't kill you.
What she can do, however, is toss you off the screen and send you 2 stages back.
There's water in the sky. There's water in the sky. Why do dolphins need to... Off you go, back to the Skyway, where you only have a limited amount of time to get back up the tube before you have to redo the stage's puzzle. Oh, but don't be thinking you'll be swimming back up to Medusa to fight her again, because before you do that, you've got to play through the Sky Tides. Now look, there's an obvious solution. You can simply go back to the menu and put in the code you get before the boss fight. But it's still annoying to have to return to the menu and enter the code every time you fall. I don't like this boss. But I know that defeating her is the only way to relieve the pressure that's been building up behind my eyes since the moment I started playing this game. Come on, you fat, smelly fart weasel. Shit. Yes! Como mierda, Marosa. So, moving on to the bubble puzzle. Next, we have to fly through the air by barking at bubbles. So, Ecco has to bark at the bubbles, which send him flying into the air, and while in midair, you have to bark at more bubbles. So, I'm flying through the air, trying to bark at these bubbles, and then the long fins start picking me up. Put me down, dude, I got it. I don't need your... What the fuck is wrong with you? So once you complete that stage, we're introduced to the Metasphere. It's an object that turns Ecco into different creatures so that he can progress through the stage. You need to use it in order to get over the giant rock walls. So yeah, now I'm a bird and I can fly. Oh, fucking what?
Congratulations.
God, please. Dude, for being endangered, there sure are a hell of a lot of eagles in the future. Eagles? Eagles! So now we've got broken crystals, and you have to piece them together before you can bark at them and get the crystal codes. Also, there's no way to surface until you complete the puzzle, and only a small area emits oxygen, so you have to complete the puzzle quickly. Only problem is that if the crystal goes off screen, it respawns back at its original location, so you can't get too far away from the crystal piece, which means you can't leave to get oxygen or the piece will reset. Then, in the very same stage, you've got to get this stink worm to follow you in order to break rocks so that you can progress. Then you've got to piece together another crystal with this asshole still chasing you. And to add insult to injury, there's a fart barnacle just shitting out. But once you complete the puzzle, you finally get to talk to the asteroid. After all, that's the whole reason you were brought to the future in the first place. All this sky swimming and being pelted with rocks just to talk to this ass clown. So he tells you the tale of his epic battle with the Vortex Queen, which leads to an incredibly dramatic cutscene. Oh, hey, what's up, dude? I know this is a pivotal moment in the fate of the planet, but could you move your car? I can't back out of the driveway. Okay, so let me attempt to clarify what's being explained by the asteroid. Apparently, after Ecco defeated the vortex creatures in the first game, the Queen followed the dolphin pod back to Earth. She's coming with the salty run back because Ecco literally knocked her jaw off, and now she can't eat an entire planet's worth of sea life. So she arrives on Earth, murders the asteroid, and figures she'll just chill here until she regains her strength. Meanwhile, Trelia, Ecco's great-great-great-great-granddolphin from the future, shows up and takes Ecco to one of two possible futures. A future where the asteroid survives and everything is full of helium, so that Ecco can talk to the asteroid and save his own timeline from the vortex creatures. Somehow, the asteroid from this timeline has memories from the version of himself that was killed in the bad timeline, and so he shows Ecco what will happen. Then he sends Ecco back to the time before time splits so that Ecco can prevent the Vortex Queen from killing the asteroid and save his timeline from a dark future. Confused? Well, that's probably because the asteroid is a f***ing idiot. Why would you bring Ecco to the future to tell him that? Why not just give that message to Trelia, the long-fin, helium-filled dipshit? She could have told me this in my time and it would have saved me a trip to the f***ing future. Let me be the first to say that you're not an all-knowing being if I have to turn into a f***ing seagull just to have a conversation with you. Anyways, thanks for dragging me to the future to notify me of this pertinent information. So now where do I go? Where do I, hey asteroid, I'm running out of oxygen. What the
fuck are you doing, you ass goblin? Help me.
So after dying here and having to replay the entire stage again, I discovered that you actually have to swim through the asteroid to exit the stage. And okay, I guess this is the past, guys. This is where the past is. Apparently it's right here. Here it is. So now I'm back in my time rescuing orca babies. Holy shit, dude. Are you kidding me? Lady, you've got you gotta stop having so many kids. Use protection. So once you collect all the orca babs, you talk to Mama Orca, and then one of her babies shows you the exit of the stage. You can't exit the stage without him, even if you know where to go, because rocks will be blocking your path. Rocks are apparently a real fucking problem in Ecco's world. Speaking of playing Follow the Leader, there's a part in the next stage where you need to follow a fellow dolphin in order to complete the stage. You find him just chilling in a cove at the bottom of the stage, waiting to fuck up your day. Follow me, Ecco. Well, alright. Whoa, okay, maybe slow it down a little bit there, dude. Alright, let's try this again. Nice to meet you again. Okay, well that sounds a bit condescending. What? Slow down! Alright, take 3. You must swim close by my... Yeah, I get it. Maybe slow down a bit. God, I can't get over the fucking rocks in time! Let us try a 4th time, ... Slow it down, no? Oh, alright! Let's be faster. No, let's be slower, you shit muffin. Slow, oh my. Are you really Ecco the dolphin? Let's try again. Alright, that's it. Wait, what? Why are there still rocks? Hey, thanks for the power up, man, but just for the record, you probably could have just given this to me earlier. It would have saved us both a lot of time, you idiot! Okay, so what do I do now? Fuck! Okay, so eventually you meet up with the orca who witnessed the asteroid's death. I really like this stage because Ecco can use his bark screech to see the environment around him, just like a real dolphin. You see, dolphins use echolocation to help them see better underwater so they can find food and avoid alien death squids. Anyways, you need to find the orca's bab in order to finish the stage. Once you return the bab, the orca shares its memory of the asteroid's death, and you find out that when the asteroid died, the Vortex Queen stole a couple of his jelly beans. Eventually, you end up fighting an eel in a shell. During the descent, I tried damaging it in any way that I could, but nothing worked, and when you reach the bottom, the thing goes apeshit and starts chasing you around like crazy. Well, the Screech does 0 damage to it during the descent, even when it's spiraling downward. However, once it flies out of its shell at the very end, you can damage it. But how the f was I supposed to know that? It was a lucky guess that I even tried, because when you know something can kill you just by touching it, naturally you're gonna go on the defensive rather than going on the offensive, especially when it comes flying at your face. So I guess it wasn't that tough, but it did take me a couple of tries to figure that out.
Actually, I defeated that boss on my first try, buddy.
Shut the f up, Dave! So once you defeat him, he drops the first 2 jelly beans and the asterite forms. Well, kind of. He's barely able to function, and he only has enough strength to request more jelly beans. Come on, asterite, pull yourself together. Man, this guy's in pieces. He seems a little scattered.
Yeah, I guess you could say he's all over the place.
Shut the fuck up, Dave. Nobody likes you. Nobody.
So now it's the quest for jelly beans. The next few stages are basically fetch quests. You're collecting jelly beans and bringing them back to the asterite. That's really it. Then there's a stage where you gotta collect jelly beans and there's a bunch of whales. One of the 2 jelly beans I need is behind a cluster of rocks and I can't get to it. You can talk to the whales and they'll tell you that their leader can help you. Oh, okay, well, who's the leader? How am I supposed to know which one of you is the fucking leader? I don't want to sound whaleless, but all y'all look alike. I keep swimming around trying to find him, and every time I swim by a whale, I get caught in the gravitational pull of their giant asses. Just get out of the... God damn, which one of you is the leader? Oh, he's right here. Right next to the... I will help you, little cousin. Hey, thanks, big cousin. Holy shit, nice. I wonder what happens if you talk to him now. I will help you, little... Oh... I think Big Cousin's one sandwich short of a beer, if you know what I mean. Now on to the stage where you get to transform into a shark. You've got to transform into a shark to get past the other sharks in the stage because they can kill you in 1 or 2 hits. If you get hit by a shark and lose all of your health, there is no way you'll make it, because when you run out of oxygen, the game begins depleting your health. And in this stage, it depletes oxygen about 5 times as fast as the other stages. I played through this stage like 10 times before I was able to figure out how to beat it. So after swimming through more rings, you end up being kidnapped by Abbott and Costello, who take you to Vortex headquarters, and then they explode. So here we are in the gravity tubes. These stages are actually pretty cool. There's a meter in the corner that shows which direction gravity is pulling in, and you'll need to utilize it in order to progress through the stages. There's a lot of precision jumping, and you've got to make your way through a lot of maze-like tubes and hallways. It can get pretty confusing, but it's a fun challenge. I also need to mention that there are small crystals that act as checkpoints throughout these stages. If you bark at them, they'll save your progress. That way, if you die, you respawn at the crystal instead of having to redo the entire stage. The gravity aspect comes into play when you need to hop off the map and travel along the edge in order to pass by areas where the currents are too strong for you to progress. So once you make your way to the end of these tubes, you have to face the globe! This giant pile of ass is holding the last 2 jelly beans inside of it, and at the start of this fight, it's tied down. So you've got to shriek at it in order to break it free and knock it against the walls. It doesn't really fight back at first, it just kind of bounces around. But once you crack it against the wall enough, it goes into psycho mode and starts rushing you. Oh god, oh god! You've got a very small area to avoid his attacks, and if he pins you against the wall, he'll kill you in 1 hit. It doesn't make any sort of indication noise when it charges, so you basically have to time it yourself and just make sure to keep that pace. So once you get the last 2 jelly beans, the asteroid is whole again, and he finally gives you the power to defeat the Vortex Queen. Wait a second, this really does seem all too familiar. Whoa, you ever just get the craziest feeling of deja vu? Oh god, no. I can't go through that again. I won't! I don't understand. How can I think like a dolphin? Wait, what? How do I become Dolphinkin? No, no, no way! No way am I doing that! Alright! I'll do it.
Ever since I could remember, I've always known that I was a dolphin.
I had a lot of trouble fitting in with the other kids, mostly because I couldn't function outside of the water. The other kids at school called me a faggot and punched me in the neck. They would throw rocks at me and call me a fish queer. Stupid idiots. Didn't even realize that dolphins aren't fish. They're mammals, just like you and I. Sometimes when people would see me flopping around on the ground, they would say, "What is he, a dolphin?" They knew. They could see what I really was. My mom tried to send me to a therapist once, but they wouldn't let me bring my pool into the office, so I refused to go. I'm sorry I can't type for too long because it's really hard to type with flippers. But one day the world will understand me. One day they'll see that I am a dolphin. Oh my god. I can feel it! I can feel the dolphin blood coursing through my veins! Yes! I did it! I won! Wait, there's more? So to get the complete ending to the game, you have to travel back to the City of Forever. Well, at least this time you don't have to make any ridiculous jumps. Instead, you get to play as a school of fish, which is pretty fun, actually. The last part has you avoiding vortex larvae as you make your way to the time machine. It's really not that difficult. There's a part at the beginning where you've got to follow behind the larva in order to pass a doorway, and after that, you're basically just navigating to the end of the stage. Alright, Dalpus, it's time to end this game. Wait, what the f is this? No, that's not true! That's impossible! You can simply go back to the menu and put in the code you get before the boss fight. I'm gonna beat this game. I'm gonna beat this game on hard mode. So going back through the game on hard mode, it was definitely more difficult. There are subtle differences in a few of the levels that make them more challenging, and the boss fights are much tougher. There's also the addition of a few new stages. There's another fucking Sky Tides level, but I didn't have near as much trouble completing it because after dying enough to the stupid suck holes, I got frustrated and started shrieking at everything and found out that you can actually shrink them. And of course, the end game really ramps up the difficulty. After completing the mini version of the machine, you're introduced to the new machine. The final area of the game is ridiculous. Unlike the first playthrough, you don't just follow the first larva through the doorway and then find the exit. You have to follow multiple larvae through multiple doorways in a specific order just to reach the end.
But don't get too close or they'll turn around and give you a little hug.
What's different? The password didn't...
私はあなたのいるかのゲームを破壊する。
So what can I say about Tides of Time? It is by far one of the toughest and most frustrating games I've ever played in my life. I enjoyed the first Ecco because it was an unexpected challenge. I never would have guessed that a game about a dolphin fighting aliens could be so awesome. And just like the first game, Tides of Time delivered. It's a tough game, and it can be so intense at times that it feels unfair, but nothing can compare to the feeling you get when you persevere by completing a stage or defeating a boss. Ecco the Dolphin Tides of Time is the Dark Souls of Genesis. The game is huge. With the exception of a few mini-games and filler areas, it has over 30 stages. The gameplay is fast-paced, and the game itself is constantly testing your reflexes and puzzle-solving abilities. The story is complex, the music is beautiful, the graphics are great, the characters are bizarre, the world of Ecco the Dolphin is massive. It's not perfect, no game is, but I'll be damned if this game wasn't ahead of its time. I give Tides of Time 5 tears of frustration out of 5. So if you've made it to the end of this pile of crap, please like, subscribe, comment, and consider donating to my Patreon for more crap.